Hey, this is Keir from Secret London. Normally, I work as the in-house videographer, but today I am taking off my videographer hat and putting on my film critic hat. Because what is the point of a film studies degree unless you can make arbitrary lists and tell other people that their opinions are wrong? Today, we're counting down the top 10 London films. So first off, if you ask an American to picture a typical Londoner, there's a very good chance it would be a floppy-haired man with a befuddled demeanor who constantly seems to find himself falling in love with slightly flaky American women.
First they hate each other, now all of a sudden they love each other. It doesn't make any sense to me.
The 90s saw the boom in these type of movies, and there's quite a few British romantic comedies I could have slotted in here, including Notting Hill, Bridget Jones's Diary, About a Boy, Love Actually. I don't like Love Actually. But the OG, the true answer is, of course, Four Weddings and a Funeral. The film is charm personified. It's funny, but also moving, and it manages to be great, even though we all know that Carrie is actually totally wrong for Charles, because when Kristen Scott Thomas confesses her love for you, only a madman would walk away. On the London side of things, there's famous scenes prominently featuring the South Bank and Highbury Terrace and Highbury Fields, not to mention one of the most London things you could possibly imagine, a sweary debate about the best form of public transport when you're running late. Okay, so what list would be complete without a London gangster film? And we've got so many to choose from. From the Guy Ritchie classics Snatch and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels to Eastern Promises, Mona Lisa, Ill Manners, Performance. But for me, I can't think of a London gangster film without that iconic theme kicking in the moment Bob Hoskins realizes baby Pierce Brosnan has him at gunpoint and his empire has truly crumbled. That's right, number 9, The Long Good Friday. Not only does this film prominently feature the changing face of London in the 80s, as a large theme of the film is East End real estate.
So it's important that the right people mastermind the new London.
But it's also a joy for anyone who enjoys Cockney accents and a Cockney turn of phrase.
Look at you. The Mafia. I've f***ed
Again, this film is kind of a template for the modern British gangster film as Hoskins goes on an absolute tear around the city, and most tragically of all, has to watch his favorite pub get blown up. Now, a huge monolith within the British film industry is the Ealing comedy, with such classics as The Lady Killers, Kind Hearts and Coronets, The Man in the White Suit. But we are cheekily including none of those, and instead listing an ode to the Ealing comedy starring two pythons. Yes, it's A Fish Called Wanda at number 8. This is kind of one of the ultimate Yank vs. Englishman culture clashes, as John Cleese and Kevin Kline have a battle of words at Heathrow Airport.
Well, at least we're not irretrievably vulgar.
You know your problem? You don't like winners.
Winners?
Yeah. Winners.
Winners like North Vietnam?
Shut up! We did not lose Vietnam. It was a tie.
We also have John Cleese doing a striptease in a very prime piece of real estate overlooking Tower Bridge. The running plot of Michael Palin accidentally killing dogs is set in a very nice-looking neighborhood in South Kensington. Legal scenes were filmed around the Old Bailey. Now we just need to figure out why so many posh Englishmen seem to be obsessed with American women. And I don't get it. Okay, so every Londoner has had that experience of being up way too early and walking around the city when it looks like a desolate wasteland. Well, this next movie weaponizes that with truly creepy results. That's right, it's number 7, 28 Days Later. Not only is this one of the movies that reignited the zombie genre, yes, I know they're the infected, they're not zombies, you know what I mean, don't be a tool. It was an early adopter of digital cinematography, and it was a huge success for the British film industry, grossing $82 million off of an $8 million budget. And while they do leave London halfway through the film, it is still filled with iconic London locations made over to look post-apocalyptic. And of course, they make their getaway in a classic black taxi. This was also the movie that made me check how easily I could fortify any flat I moved into in London just in case the zombie apocalypse did actually happen. Now it's time for a film that was banned in the UK until 2001, and that is number 6, Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. I mean, when you think of the idea of young people dressing in weird outfits, hanging in strange-themed bars, served milk mixed with alcohol, you think London hipster. But of course, that would just be a cheap joke, and I would never make a cheap joke like that about such a classic, filled with still incredibly poignant themes about state control, free will, and violence. But if you're just looking to check out the Londonness of the whole thing, the film really exemplifies the horrific concrete nightmare so much of London's post-war construction was. Dystopian future indeed. There's the lecture theatre at Brunel University, doubling for the medical facility, the Thamesmead estate with the glorious slow-motion fight I once recreated for a music video. Oh, an interesting fact, the record store Alex picks up the two girls in is now a McDonald's. I still have no idea why they all speak with northern accents, though. Even in 2019, we still can't shut up about the Beatles, with movies still being made to capitalize off of their success. I know what you're saying right now, but Keir, the Beatles were from Liverpool. That they were, but A Hard Day's Night is London through and through. The fun of A Hard Day's Night in many ways is watching the Beatles thrust into the alien environment of London and embracing it. Everything from them running through Marylebone Station, chased by screaming fans, to locations in Mayfair, Tottenham Court Road, Hammersmith, and incidentally, Marylebone also doubles for Lime Street Station in Liverpool, making their train journey possibly the shortest in cinematic history. The film gives us a great snapshot into a city just hitting its stride as swinging London starts to take over.
Tell me, how did you find America?
Turn left to Greenland.
No, actually, we're just good friends.
Has success changed your life?
Yes.
Are you a mod or a rocker?
No, I'm a mocker.
Juxtaposed with some social commentary as Ringo goes for a stroll through a much less flashy part of the city near Kew Gardens. It's extreme, of course, but in so many ways this film is about the experience of suddenly finding yourself in London for a couple of days, and what a whirlwind that can feel like. What's scarier to Londoners than four northern lads down for a weekend of debauchery in the city? Americans. And what's worse than Americans? The John Landis comedy horror classic provides plenty of fun side swipes at the Brits, as this is very much an American's version of London. But it does give us plenty to enjoy in terms of London landmarks and an absolute cavalcade of London stereotypes. You want gleefully posh people?
Oh, a gun would be good.
Yes, you just put the gun to your forehead and pull the trigger.
You got it. You want grumpy punks? You got it. You want a hot English woman who is impossibly charmed by an incredibly average American man? You got it. Plus, you get one of the best uses of the tube ever as our werewolf protagonist stalks a London city boy through the weaving tunnels of Tottenham Court Road Station. And I feel like we're with the werewolf on this one. You also get a climax that turns Piccadilly Circus into absolute chaos as the werewolf turns the city upside down. And also the scene where David hangs out with a bunch of undead people in a Soho porn theater, which reminds us not only how much fancier Soho has gotten since then, but that back before the internet, watching porn used to be a communal experience. Now for that film your housemate in university wouldn't stop quoting to the point where you found yourself secretly hating the film and feeling annoyed that people kept putting it on their top 10 list only to have to make your own top 10 list and feel awkward not including it. Or is that just me? It's number 3, With Nail and I. And before you say, yes, I know they go to the country in the film, but
We've gone on holiday by mistake.
And that's the thing with Nail and I. It exemplifies a certain type of London squalor, because after all, the majority of us in this city can relate to the idea of terrible flats, having no money, and feeling like your life is half farce, half depression. If you want to go to Mother Black Cap's in Camden and order
2 large gins, 2 pints of cider, ice in the cider.
You can, however, it's now the World's End Music Bar, and the person working behind the bar might think you have a drinking problem. When the apocalypse descends, what's the solution?
Go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over.
In a city full of dead-eyed wage slaves and clubbers, who's going to notice a zombie apocalypse? It's almost hard to find anything new to say about Shaun of the Dead. It really is one of the most clever blends of horror and comedy that has ever been created. It even manages to have poignant messages about taking responsibility and learning to move on. But the thing that is always so endearing about it is the commitment to just how British the whole reaction to the end of the world is. The film also jumps around geographically, with Shaun's neighborhood being in Crouch End, but his beloved Winchester pub actually being all the way across the city in New Cross Gate. It was called the Duke of Albany, but it has unfortunately closed down now. So if the zombie apocalypse does happen, we are all screwed. Now it's time for a few honorable mentions. My Beautiful Laundrette, an incredible time capsule of London in the 80s, not just of the economic tension of the Thatcher administration, but also London changing rapidly along social and racial lines. The Day the Earth Caught Fire. Atomic bombs alter the Earth's orbit, causing massive heat waves. Another entry in the, oh, the world is ending, let's go to the pub subgenre of British films. Babylon. An underseen and underappreciated film set against the racial tension in Brixton, a film that still feels just as biting and relevant today. Kind hearts and cornets. You want to see Obi-Wan Kenobi play 8 different roles as he murders everyone to get to a fortune in this biting satire? Of course you do. Who wouldn't? Wonderland. Possibly the film that most captures the atmosphere and mood of living in London, and what a complicated feeling that can be when you're surrounded by people, but also very much alone. Finally, our number 1 is a true love letter to the city of London. It's about an immigrant taken in by locals who grows to feel so much a part of the city, he even has a train station for a name.
Paddington!
Paddington?
Paddington.
Paddington?
Paddington is, of course, an iconic character to the city of London, but Paul King's 2014 film and its sequel are 2 of the most optimistic and beautiful depictions of the city ever seen. The metaphor of an immigrant who finds his place in an adopted city stands as a true testament to the multicultural vibrancy of London as a city. The film takes you on a whirlwind tour around so many famous London landmarks while creating fun visual ways of showing off the city's skyline. The film works as a beautiful tourist trip in a gauzy fantasy way, and also manages to hit on poignant themes of what it means to be a Londoner, which especially feels true when so many of us living in this city aren't from London originally. Plus, look at that face, he's so adorable! So, this has been our top 10 list. Did I miss something out? I bet you're pissed at me that I didn't include Love Actually. I don't want to fight about it, but feel free to leave us a comment and tell us if you have films that you think you'd like to see in the top 10 list, or maybe you have your own top 10 list and it's so much better than mine. We'll see. But yeah, would you like us to make some more top 10 lists? Be happy to do it. If you subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and please check out some of our other content.